okay, on one side, your adopted parents are kind of not looking at you in a good way right now because of recent traumas. But then on the other side, your other father figure is a sociopathic clone of your dead dad, and and the best therapists are trillions of miles away. Yeah, you got a lot to process on that.
This is the only pure thing in this world. The fire came from the mountain, burned our forest. But Ava did not come.
This world goes much deeper than you imagine.
Protect your sister. Yes, sir. Stay under cover. What does Dad always say?
Sullies stick together.
No, the other one.
Sullies never quits.
That's right. Sullies never quit.
How do you still live?
What if every human being on Earth could live here without a mask? Then the Na'vi people will be gone.
You want to spread your fire across the world. You need me.
Call upon the warrior mother.
Avatar: Fire and Ash. It is the latest film from director James Cameron and is the third installment of the Avatar series. And special thanks to Nick at Movie Emporium. He was able to get me in as a +1 for the press screening of this, and I am very delighted. And now that the embargo has been lifted, I am free to give you my thoughts on this latest installment. And yeah, it is a bit weird. We have since become a horror channel, but you know, I decided, given the occasion, dust off the old show to come back and do some classic movie reporting. Kind of nice to, you know, get back to the old ways. Avatar. Now, one thing I've actually just realized I never really got a chance to talk about prior, because around the time I kicked off the channel, the second movie hadn't come out yet, and the first one came out years prior to me, the channel ever existing. So let me go ahead and unpack my feelings on the Avatar movies. Well, first off, to understand my feelings on that, you got to think about James Cameron as a filmmaker. From The Terminator onward, he is a filmmaker that has always consistently endeavored to innovate the art of filmmaking, whether it be on a technical level or a storytelling level. He is always trying to push things forward in ways that have not been done before. And that's a lot of times why there's always such long gaps between his movies, is because he's always trying to, if he's not making the movies, he's making the technology to make the movies. And that's always the thing that he prioritizes above all else. He's always trying to push what can be done with filmmaking as an artistic medium, and always trying to push it forward. Now, a lot of people would accuse that the Avatar movies are not a paragon of artistic innovation, but to be honest, anyone who says that is not fully aware of what really goes into the making of these movies. And in that aim, the Avatar movies, to me, I think are fantastic for the sake of what they do to show off what can be done with film, and especially when you're a filmmaker at the peak of your powers, who is always at the forefront of pushing forward what can be done. And the Avatar movies, even going all the way back to 2009 when the first movie came out, that is still, and even now after all this time, the first movie is still a spectacle to behold, because it is so incredible to see what he was able to do at the time. And the fact that the movie still holds up on a visual level is the kind of the point of this whole thing. It's the fact that you get so immersed in his highly detailed view of what the world of Pandora is, that after a while, actually no time flat, you forget entirely that you're watching, for the most part, an animated movie. That's the kind of wild thing. But if you actually watch the behind the scenes of how a lot of the Avatar movies are made, using visual, they actually use a special camera with a pre-rendered visual of what the scenery looks like, and they have the actors just doing their thing in mocap suits, and they integrate it all together, and that's like the kickoff for it. And that helps them as a nice little guide, but that's also why the camera work in each of the Avatar movies feel real, because they actually are using handheld cameras for action scenes. They are using common filmmaking techniques, but they're integrating computer technology in order to really sell the illusion that we are on this alien planet. So when it comes to pushing forward what can be done with filmmaking, that's why the Avatar movies exist, and that's why they're great, and that's why I hope James Cameron keeps making them, because with every one of these movies comes out means that new things can be done for other filmmakers who have the chance to use these tools for movie making. Now, when it comes to the story level, now jokes have been said ad nauseum about the simplicity of the Avatar stories. Some have even, in a very derisive way, have said that they are Dance with Wolves or Last Samurai. Pretty much any story about in this case, a white outsider going into an indigenous or another culture and embracing the culture and standing up and defending them. Yeah, it's hard to refute that claim. But ultimately, I just defer back to a saying that I've said many times before, and I will keep saying it because, frankly, I think it's still true. No matter how many times you tell the same story, so long as you tell that story in a way that is special to you and that is interesting and that is unique, that's fine. And when I compare it to Dance with Wolves or even The Last Samurai, I'm going to go to the gorgeous living alien planet with the 9-foot kitty people. I'm going to go there. Admittedly, there might be some kinks involved, but I had to explore that. That's a thing. That's somewhere else. But let's go ahead and get into Avatar Fire and Ash. This one in particular, I was very fascinated by the first trailer, because Cameron actually did say he wanted to explore the Na'vi on a different level, because prior to this, we had run into other tribes and other factions on Pandora that for the most part all seem to be kind of as one, even though a lot of them have their own different customs and the like, but they all seem to band together for the same aim. But that's not really how a world works, unfortunately. There are going to be other cultures, other ones who splinter off and kind of have their own philosophy and their own way of life that will be in conflict with another, and whether or not, and you could say they are misguided, or that one are in conflict with the other. That's just unfortunately how different countries work, different nations, different religions. That's how they work, unfortunately, and many times they are in conflict with each other. And in this case, we have the Ash tribe, and led by I guess you could say fire witch. Unfortunately, I'm bad with names. I myself, from where I'm sitting, I just walked out of the movie, so I'm still not fuzzy on the names. But the Ash tribe, they have a very interesting basis as to where their belief structure comes from and why they worship fire as the ultimate force. And that's a very fascinating foundation for where they come from and why, very understandably, it's in conflict with the Na'vi, with the other Na'vi, like the Water Tribe, and of course with Jake Sully and their tribe. So they're already right there is a excellent example of world building, which again, think about Cameron, think about his history with sequels. If there's one thing Cameron's always been good at, it's world building and building on ideas from previous movies. Even Terminator 2, which you could say is, for all intents and purposes, a bit of a higher budgeted rehash of the first film, he's still taking the opportunity to explore new ideas and stuff that maybe he just wasn't able to do with the first movie. He's taking the opportunity again with the Avatar movies because this is the best thing about these, is that he has created a world. This is his world that he has created. And like any planet, there's going to be odds and ends. There's going to be different angles. And with every installment, he has taken the opportunity to show us a different side to it. And that is a major aspect where it's incredibly successful. But if there's one thing that you're going to do with a threequel, especially when you have a lot of main characters coming back and exploring them a lot further, it is important to keep the characters that we know interesting. And for that aim, that is definitely, I would say, where Fire and Ash stands out above the other two, is the fact that these characters, a lot of them who we are actually quite used to, we are seeing new sides to them that we never would have thought we were going to be seeing in the other ones. I'd say the big MVP, when it comes to of all the main cast that I really think got a chance to do some new and wild and interesting things, which make me go, I want another movie because I want to see where this character goes from here. It is easily Quaritch, played by Stephen Lang. First off, Stephen Lang's a freaking boss. I love the fact that this man had this incredible latter-day career kick. He is an awesome actor in Don't Breathe and VFW. Check those out. They're awesome. But to get a chance to play this character, which in the beginning was a typical army, asshole villain, I love the fact that that gradually, given what they have done with him, especially after Way of Water, now moving into this, there are things about this character. They're doing things which are making him more than just that stereotypical character that we saw from the first film. They are doing things with him which make me immensely intrigued about, hopefully, if there are a fourth and a fifth, that we will get into. Because Cameron said he had aims for a fourth and a fifth film after this, but I don't know. We'll judge that when we get there. There's a lot to unpack about this. I mean, I'm going to try to be as spoiler-free as possible, but the main thing I can definitely say in an all-encapsulating front is that this is no longer Jake Sully's movie. That's the big thing, because Jake Sully was our focal character of the first film. And with the second one, we get to see where he's been 15 years later, when he's when he's having a family, and now, unfortunately, the demons of his past have now come back to attack. Well, this time now, he is dealing with the fact that no, we are, unfortunately, as much as we like to think it, we are going to be at war. Even though we are live to fight another day, we're still hurting from the events of what happened in the past film. There's still traumas, and unfortunately, there are trust issues between the ranks, which they have to kind of get through. And the thing about this movie that I was really impressed with was that the focus on all the characters. This is, like I said, this is no longer just about Jake Sully anymore. This is about all the family, and just all about how each of them are fighting and overcoming with these new challenges on the side, especially when you got the fact that you have Jake Sully, who, of course, he hasn't integrated himself with the Na'vi, but there is this underlying thing of the fact that I still come from Earth. This is still where I come. This is still who I am. And I love that there's a bit of a reminder of that in his relationship with Neytiri, and even more so, and because of that, it affects the way she sees other characters, in particular Jack Champion's Spider, who is a character who some people were frustrated with in the last film, but more so, unfortunately, Cameron really goes in hard with his character, because he, in a way, much like Jake Sully, but in a way, it's kind of like on a seesaw kind of thing in terms of perspective. But he is kind of in a similar boat where he is of two worlds as well. He has spent most of his life on Pandora, but unfortunately, where his roots, where he comes from, is straight from Earth. So there is this whole angle that he's still fighting with about where he belongs. But even more so, as he drifts into one end, he thinks about the things that he could potentially be behind, or the things that, and even more so, will he be accepted? One thing that I wish, and who knows, I'd like to think they might even get into it in the next film, but one thing I would like with Quaritch, Stephen Lang's character, I'd love it if they explore the idea of him being where he stands. Because again, I have to be spoiler free, but there is a point in the movie where he starts integrating in his own right, but kind of in the wrong way, like kind of the opposite of what Jake Sully did. And that's, again, like any good villain character, the villain should be an equal and opposite, like a Moriarty character, and Quaritch is kind of becoming that. So, but this is kind of what I'm talking about. In the previous Avatar movies, I never really was getting much in terms of the characters. Like, I was getting like, okay, these are the kind of the goalposts that the movie was hitting in order for us to get to point A to point B. This is the first Avatar movie I've encountered where I was legitimately invested in the conflicts between all the characters. Even Katie has her own conflicts, especially regarding what she is. Like, she has a big old identity crisis because unfortunately her birth. Now, yeah, some people could say, oh, they're going full biblical on this one, and yeah, you could even say they're going chosen one trope on this one, but I feel like they're handling this with a little bit more delicacy and mercifully, with less Christian imagery, which would be kind of a bit of a conflict of interest given the metaphors that this movie is going for in terms of quote unquote civilization's treatment of indigenous people. So yeah, that'd be a bit of a conflict of interest if they went full Christ mode with Kitty's character. So, but mercifully, they have not done that, and they are still taking her in routes that, even with her, are legitimately wonderful. I can't articulate just how wonderful it is that Cameron is still making these movies to this very day, that he can still make films that still make me lose myself in a world where in the first, now, I will say this, when you go see this movie, go see it on the best screen possible. I went to go see it at the Disney AMC Dolby Digital. The visuals are stunning, though I will say some of the shifts from 60 frames per second versus regular frame rate can be a bit jarring, but I will say to me they were welcome, because when it did go into 60 FPS, it looked beautiful. It looked crystal clear. It felt like you were kind of crossing through the window into the world of Pandora. So that is just kind of a big deal right there. The Avatar Fire and Ash is yet another worthy entry to the series. If you are one who's like really passionate about this world, you are definitely going to get a lot to go with here. A lot of things you do love about the other ones are very much here, but you are definitely going to, there's definitely a lot of great things to look into in terms of, first off, the action set pieces are incredible. There's an excellent side where they end up going to the human colony, and there's an awesome set piece in there. The final battle, I was worried there was going to be some rinse and repeat of the previous film, but then I had to remember, wait a minute, the big climax of the previous film was just a rescue mission on just like 1 or 2 ships. No. The finale of this will be all out freaking war, and there are some excellent visuals and a great showdown between some of our characters in a very unique bit of scenery. So just when I think that I've seen it all, Cameron pretty much says, nope, I ain't done with you yet. And so that, Avatar Fire and Ash, I'm going to give it a Narcotic Casserole rating of 4 servings. Oh my God. Servings, man, I haven't done the servings rating in ages. There we go. That is my review of Avatar Fire and Ash. It comes out December 19th, and like I said before, if you are into these, and even then, if you just want to see a movie that's just all out spectacle, and yeah, I could say shut your brain off, but this is actually one where I didn't feel the need to shut my brain off. I actually felt intellectually engaged by it. So yeah, that's kind of a bonus with this one, but it will be out, and like I said, go see it on the biggest, best screen possible for the full experience. So with that, I'm trying to remember my old motto. So for more addictive content, the Narcotic Casserole, so like, share, subscribe, click, thou shalt be served.